Hi everyone, I'm Mark from Travel Shorts. This is my daughter Holly. That's my son Matthew. And today we're in the historic university city of Cambridge. It's taken us just over 3 hours drive from home to get here today. So although we want to explore as much as the city has to offer, first thing we're going to do is have lunch. We're actually here on a Sunday as well, so we're going to be staying overnight. So we've got Sunday and Monday. What I found out when I was doing a bit of research, parking in the centre of the city is really expensive. For 5 hours, you could be paying over £30. So we've just come to the Castle Hill car park. It's about a 15-minute walk into the centre of the city from here, but it's only £4.90 today on a Sunday, so it's off-peak rate. So we're going to enjoy a little walk first before we get something for lunch. And of course, Cambridge is famous for its punting on the River Cam. We might do that later, not 100% sure yet. We'll see what we decide later. So I realise this isn't the kind of food you should have when you come to Cambridge. You should have something traditionally British, like in a nice classic pub. But we've come to Wendy's. I haven't had Wendy's for about 20 years back in the States. Matthew and Holly have never had Wendy's, so they wanted to come in here and just try their burgers. We've had our lunch. Now it's time to start exploring this city. We do have some plans for today. We're going to go to 2 museums, the Fitzwilliam and also the Archaeology Museum. But before we do that, we just want to walk around the city a little bit and explore. So Holly's a little bit upset. We went into Pop Mart, but they're out of stock of Labubu's, and she loves Labubu's. Yeah. So I'll probably have to buy her one via the internet just to keep her happy when we get home. We've come to Market Square, and there's an open-air market on, so we're going to walk around that, take a look around.
They sell fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
I want food.
So that was a really quick look around the Market Square open-air market. Mainly food. There was also some jewellery and some clothing in there as well. You could probably hear the bells in the background as well. That's St. Mary's Church. We're going to be coming back there later because we want to climb to the very top of the tower. What we're going to do now, we're heading to our first museum of the day. Just looking at Google Maps so we don't get lost. Although I don't think we could get lost here, to be honest. It's a very compact city centre and everything is almost within walking distance. So the first museum we're going to go to today is the Archaeology Museum, and it's only a 4-minute walk from where we are now. And one thing you need to remember if you are coming to Cambridge and you want to specifically go to the museums, all the museums in Cambridge are closed on Mondays. So we're here Sunday and Monday. So that's why we're doing a couple of the museums we want to do today. The museum I wanted to do the most, which was the Polar Exploration Museum, is actually closed on Sundays and Mondays. Really wanted to go to that one. I really find that like Arctic expeditions, Antarctica expeditions and polar expeditions in general really interesting. So we'll have to come back to Cambridge another time. So we've just entered the museum. We're going to start at the very top floor. There's 3 floors. The lady at the desk told us the ground floor is local archaeology. Top 2 floors are from around the world. So let's start on the 3rd floor. So that was the Archaeology Museum here in Cambridge. Really interesting, actually, for a small museum, because it was only 3 small floors, if I'm going to be completely honest. There's lots of artifacts from around the world in there. And best of all, it was free admission. Plan now is to walk 4 minutes down this road we're going on now. And we're going to get to the Fitzwilliam Museum, which is reputably the best museum in Cambridge. Shall we go upstairs first? You enjoying yourself, Holly? So that's the first floor done. Time to go back downstairs. Holly, you must be finding these ones interesting. So I think we're just about finishing up here at the Fitzwilliam Museum. But we've just come to my window here, just to look outside, and it looks like it started to rain. So we might just spend another few minutes looking around, even though we've pretty much seen everything we need to see. We've been in here for what? Hour and 20 minutes so far? So we'll be in here for an hour and a half before we leave. Hopefully the rain's going to clear up. Did say on the weather app that it wasn't going to rain today, so hopefully it should just be a really short shower.
They only release software reviews every Friday.
Every Friday?
Yeah.
How'd you know that?
Was I just savage?
So we have finished in the Fitzwilliam Museum. It stopped raining as well, which is good. So we only had to wait about 10 minutes and it just blew over. We're now going to continue exploring Cambridge. We're going to head along this road. At the end of it, and then turn left, is the mathematical bridge. If you're not familiar with a mathematical bridge, it was allegedly designed and built by Sir Isaac Newton using no nails or any fixings at all. Later, a group of Cambridge University students took it apart to see how it was actually built, and they couldn't put it back together again. So now there are nails and there are fixings in that bridge because they just simply couldn't put it back together again without any fixings. It's about a 5-minute walk from where we are here. So that was the mathematical bridge here in Cambridge. Like I said, designed by Sir Isaac Newton, taken apart by some students, couldn't put it back together again. You view it just by going on the bridge opposite it. Lots of punts over that side. You were actually accosted by a few people trying to sell us spaces on those punts. I don't think we're going to be doing it now, actually, because of the rain off and on. I don't want to be stuck on the river for about 45 minutes, I think each punt lasts for. I'm not sure the prices if you turn up on the door now, but I know when I was researching this trip, we almost pre-booked it going via Get Your Guide. There was quite a lot of different ones on Get Your Guide. You can either have private ones, you can either have shared ones, or if you're really brave, you can actually hire a punt yourself and have a go yourself. That was the one I was actually thinking about doing, but I thought, if I lost my balance and went in the river, I wouldn't be happy for the rest of the day, so we didn't do that. I might leave some links down below in the description, just some Get Your Guide links to punting here in Cambridge if you are interested in it. Like I said, I only normally recommend activities I've done, so I haven't been on one of those, so I can't recommend it. Just for your ease, if you want to research it a bit more yourselves, just have a look down there. And what I think we're going to go to now is the Corpus Clock. Again, really close. In fact, everything in Cambridge is really close in walking distance between all the different little attractions we're going to be visiting today. The Corpus Clock is only 4 minutes away. I'll tell you more about it once we get there. Are you excited to see a clock? I'm going to take that as yes, you are really excited to see a clock. Yeah, but this is the Corpus Clock. So that was the Corpus Clock. As you can see, it didn't actually have regular hands like a normal clock. I can't remember from memory how you tell the time on it, but I think that time meter, that grasshopper which is on the top, opens its mouth either every 20 or 30 seconds to eat the time, and then spits out the time for the other 30 seconds. But really don't quote me on that. Like I said, I forgot how you actually tell the time on it. It was unveiled back in 2008 by Stephen Hawking, and it actually contains 24 karat gold as well. So I guess it's pretty valuable, not just for its uniqueness, but also for its weight in gold. So that's King's College behind me here. The monastery, or the chapel, I'm not sure what you call it, I have Monastery Chapel Church over by there, was actually founded by King Henry VI, I believe, and finished construction under Henry VIII. Again, don't quote me on that. I suppose I haven't addressed the fact yet that Cambridge is predominantly a university town, university city. In fact, Cambridge University is the third oldest continually operating university in the world. It's not just at one location. The entire city is made up of separate universities and campuses. So we've got King's College here. We had Corpus Christi over there. You've got Queen's College. You've got a lot of different colleges here, but they're all Cambridge University. A number of them charge you to go in. I can't remember offhand what King's College is, because I would have really liked to go inside the chapel or the church there, but I'm sure it's about £16 each. And Personally, I don't think that's very good value, especially when there's 3 of us. So we're not actually going to be visiting any universities today on this trip to Cambridge, which I know is a bit ironic, seeing this is a university city. But we're still going to try and see as much as we possibly can. And next up is St. Mary's Church, and we're going to go right to the very top of the tower. Should be just over there. And we've just got our tickets to climb the tower. Prices are £7.50 for adults and £4.50 for children. And you're not allowed to film while walking up the stairs as well for health and safety reasons. So I'll see you guys when we get to the top. So we've made it to the top. That was a total of 123 steps. Pretty easy, if I'm going to be completely honest, wasn't it, Holly? That wasn't difficult at all compared with what we did in Italy. a couple of years ago. Pardon?
That market.
Oh yeah, the market's down there. So, like I said, down at the bottom, total costs come up here with £16.50. That's £7.50 for myself for adults and £4.50 each for children, Matthew and Holly. But it is a great view. You see basically all of Cambridge from up here. Got views of the universities from one side, views of the market that we visited earlier this side. It's starting to rain a little bit, but not too much. As long as it doesn't have any lightning, but we should be reasonably safe because there is a big lightning conductor up there. But yeah, anything like
struck like right there all the time.
I don't know. I don't think they would. I don't think they would let people up here if there was a chance of thunder and lightning.
But if it did,
and look, it's a flagpole as well as a lightning conductor. We'd probably be safe anyway because it's grounded, so it'll go straight down to the ground below us.
Yeah.
So there's King's College where we just came from. The Corpus Clock is down there. We've been up here for about 15 minutes. It's nice and cool. You've got to ring a buzzer before you go down to make sure it's all clear. And then, because it is operating on a one-way system. So once the staircase becomes empty, they let you know and then we head down. So we're back at ground level. I'll be completely honest with you, that was really easy to go up and down. It was narrow and a bit claustrophobic, but at 123 steps, it's not that high. It's really simple to do. What was a little bit annoying though, both of us going up and going down, the people in front of us were extremely slow, and there were a number of places that they could just stand to the side to let people behind them pass, but they didn't do that. They just kept going either up or down the steps, even coming to a standstill quite a few times going up. And for us, even though I'll be first to admit, I'm not the fittest person in the world, but even that wasn't really that much effort. But I always think as a courtesy to people behind you, if you are blocking people and there is a place to just step to the side, because there was a number of doorways that go off to the side, like where they ring the bells, where the bells themselves were. There was an office up there as well on the side. Just step to the side and let the line of people behind you go. Anyway, that's enough moaning. We've now come back down. We're in the main part of the church. We're just relaxing a little bit. And I think we're going to go and get ourselves an ice cream, because it wouldn't be a travel shorts adventure if we don't stop for ice cream somewhere. I think everywhere we go, we get ice cream.
Especially the Europe trip.
Ice cream every day. So we're back outside the church. Like I said in there, that for the money, I think that is worth it. $7.50 for adults, $4.50 for children. It does give a really great vantage point of the whole of basically the centre of Cambridge around us. So yeah, recommended going that. Next, we're going to look for some ice cream or a drink or a milkshake, something like that. There's plenty of places around to quench our thirst. We'll probably stop at one of the first ones we come to. Let's head that way. So that's where we were, right at the very top of the tower there. We're going to head back this way through the market we came to earlier. So we've come to Shake Shack to get ourselves a milkshake. And maybe I'm getting old now, but the price of free milkshakes, so me and Holly had a strawberry milkshake, Matthew had a chocolate milkshake, just regular sizes. So free milkshakes came to £17.70. Let me know in the comments down below if that's what these normally cost. I don't normally go to Shake Shack, if I'm being honest. Don't have one where we live. But that seems extortionately priced. £17.70 for free milkshakes, not even large ones or anything, just regular milkshakes. Yeah, Holly just pointed out that's more than a Labubu. We're going to sit down in here. We're going to enjoy these now, take our time. And then after we've finished, we're going to carry on exploring in Cambridge. After we finished our milkshakes, we also just popped into a Tesco Express, get ourselves 3 bottles of drinks. I had a Iron Brew, Matthew had a Dr. Pepper, and Holly had a lemon Fanta. What we're going to do now is we're going to head over to Sir Isaac Newton's apple tree, which, hold on, I need to stop and look at my phone, which way we're going. So even though this is called Sir Isaac Newton's apple tree, it's not technically the original tree that he came up with his theory of universal gravity from. It's actually a graft of that tree, so it is a descendant of the original apple tree that Sir Isaac Newton was sitting under when that apple hit him on the head and changed physics forever. So they took a branch off that tree and stuck it on another tree, and it can continue to grow that way. So we're coming to Trinity College. This is Trinity College ahead of us here. And this is where Sir Isaac Newton's apple tree is. As you can see, it's a very popular area with tour guides, tour groups all around. So that was inside the grounds of Trinity College. It was just a viewing area. I think you have to pay to go in to actually see the whole area itself, that quadrant. I've noticed some signs as well that says keep off the grass. They're very strict about walking on grass here in Cambridge universities. In fact, you have to be a senior lecturer, and it shows the seniority of the employees at these universities. If you're a senior lecturer, you can actually walk on the grass, but all the students and visitors stick to the paths. Right in front of us here is Sir Isaac Newton's apple tree. Do you want to see what it looks like? And there's Sir Isaac Newton's apple tree. Like I said, it isn't technically the original apple tree. It's just a graft from that original apple tree. But yeah, that's quite a historic thing, though. A descendant, or a relative, I might say, of that apple tree that Sir Isaac Newton was sitting underneath when that apple hit him on the head. And then he came up with his theory of universal gravity. Holly, I can see some green apples on that tree. Can you?
Okay.
Why don't you run over there and grab some? And then we'll get thrown in jail.
Why?
Well, I don't think we would. We might just get shouted at a little bit. Or probably nothing, actually.
Then why do you say blah blah blah? Get to say.
Because I'm just joking. Okay, shall we keep going that way a bit? And no matter where you go in the world, you always find people who think the rules don't apply to them. Quite clearly, keep off the grass sign, near the fence. Obviously, you're not meant to go up there and grab apples. Now, I'm going to be honest, I think we're doing really well for time today. We've virtually done nearly all the things I wanted to do today. So what we're going to do, we're going to find somewhere nice and quiet to sit down. Holly, we're going to turn right here. And we're going to go to an area known as the Backs. And that is the back of the university, the other side of the river, and sit down for a little bit and just relax, have some more of our drinks. And it's a really nice walk getting there as well. Look at this, where we're walking now. So nice and quiet. That's Trinity College to our right-hand side there. We're going to continue on this path, or on this road, until we get to the river area, find a bridge, cross the river, and then walk along the banks of the other side of the river. I think the fields in the Backs as well contain a number of cows that just walk around. That'd be quite interesting. Is he soaking wet? Has he gone in, or is it just sweat? He looks like he's been in.
Yeah.
Maybe he has.
Maybe he fell.
Yeah. It looks like this area by here is where all the tourist buses pick up from. Roads full of buses and lots of tourists going in the buses. So 2 of the places we tried to get to the backs from along this path in this park were actually closed off. It says a private property or private event was happening. So the backs may be owned by the universities. And there's a function going on there today. So it means we couldn't really go and experience what the backs were like, sitting on benches on the river with some cows going past. So we're in a park. It's a little bit busy, but we found ourselves a bench to sit down for about 10, 15 minutes, get ourselves a drink. And then we're just going to go back into Cambridge, probably get a snack, maybe a donut, maybe an ice cream. Not sure yet. We'll be on our way again in about 15 minutes. So we've just gone to Krispy Kreme's, got ourselves some nice donut treats. Got 6 donuts, so 2 each. We're going to find somewhere outside that's a bit quiet and sit down and start eating them. If we don't find anywhere, we might go back to our hotel, actually, because it's kind of everywhere's going to be shutting now. It's 10 to 5 on a Sunday, so pretty much everywhere shuts at 5 o'clock on Sundays here. Oh, it also looks like it's raining. People with umbrellas outside. So I don't think we're going to find ourselves somewhere outside to sit on a bench because we'll get soaked. It's going to be about another 10, 15-minute walk to the car as well. So we might just stay underneath here for a little bit, see if it calms down. And if it does, I think we'll head back to the car and go to our hotel. Because I think we are now done for the day here in Cambridge. Like I said, we are here for 2 days. So it's Sunday today, we're here Monday as well. See you in a minute, once we know what we're going to be doing. So we're at our hotel. We decided to leave Cambridge in the end, just because of the rain. Went to the car park, and we're here at a hotel, which is the Premier Inn in Cambridge on the A14. So it was about a 8 or 9 minute drive from the centre of Cambridge, about 3 miles away. We decided to stay outside of Cambridge tonight, purely because of costs. I think we're paying £49 tonight for this Premier Inn. And we're here. Do you want to take a quick look around, see what we get for our money? So this is room 606. So we're on the 6th floor. It's a family room. There's Holly there. There's Matthew there. There's the big bed. There's 2 smaller beds. Have we got a view, Matthew? I haven't looked out the window yet.
Yeah.
Got a view of the car park down there and the motorway. Or I think it's the A14. TV. Little table there. Oh, actually, there's no desk. Don't think I've been in a Premier Inn without a desk to work on. Oh well. There. Here's our bathroom. So what I think the plan's going to be now, we're going to relax for a little bit. Kind of just do nothing for maybe an hour or 2. And then we'll pop out for dinner a little bit later. So see you shortly. And we're actually going to just sit down and eat the donuts we got from Krispy Kreme now as well. At least it's drier in the hotel room rather than sitting outside somewhere in the rain. And that's Holly's Biscoff one.
Good morning, everyone. We decided not to vlog last night because we didn't really do anything that interesting. Stayed in the room for a while, then went to the local service station for our dinner, came back to the room and went to bed. It's now Monday morning. We're going to head down for breakfast. After we've had some breakfast, we're going to go to the Centre for Computing History here in Cambridge.
We've arrived at the Centre for Computing History here in Cambridge. It was about a 15-minute, maybe 15-minute drive from the Premier Inn Hotel where we were staying last night. It's on the middle of an industrial estate, right next to a retail park. What I think there is here, hello Holly, is it has hundreds of computers spanning the last few decades. So I'm coming here almost for nostalgia reasons and to show these to you, the type of computers that I used to use in school many years ago. Got to go in now and let's take a look what's here. And there it is there.
Did you have anything like that?
Not quite like that one, no. I had that one. Yeah.
Okay.
And I had that one there.
What those two?
Not those ones. I had that one, yeah. That's another one. It's called a ZX Spectrum. That's got a ZX81.
Oh, it's better.
Well, that one was a little bit better, but that was the original one. That was the first computer I had. And you've got one of those. Yeah. You've got that one there. Shall we go in the 80s classroom first? So this would be probably like my class. So these are the computers there. That's the type of computers I had in school, Holly. That. Oh, so these computers were made in Cambridge. Let's go in the main gallery then, shall we, Holly?
Did you ever have a typewriter?
Yeah, I had a typewriter.
All these are.
Yeah, so these are ones you can go on. So, Holly, you see this one? This Amstrad. If you wanted to play a game on this, you'd have to put a tape in there, press play. It'd have to go all the way through the tape.
Yeah.
And then you can start the game after it played the tape.
Well, I don't have a tape.
Okay, but look, you can play the game, though.
I think fast.
Oh, it's got Bomb Jack on it.
I don't know how to play.
Bomb Jack, number 4.
Oh.
Here you go. So this is the Bomb Jack. I had that Bomb Jack on my Amstrad.
What do I do?
Well, wait for it to start.
What do I do on this?
J for joystick.
Well, you're doing better than me.
J for joystick.
How do I do it?
Go press a button. They should start it. You're probably meant to go up the little ladders.
Can't go through.
Oh, collect those then. 1 player start. Press 1 for 1 player start. There you go. Oh, I remember that. You basically got to jump and collect all the bombs. And every time you press a button, you can fly.
How do I
Press it. Move the joystick. See?
that way?
Move right. Oh, is the joystick not working?
Way.
Oh, the joystick's not working going that way. So you can only go left then. Don't get caught by those things.
Well, I did.
Yeah. So this is the kind of game that I used to play, Holly, when I was young. In fact, I had this game. And you press a button and you jump.
What?
I press it again and I should keep going. See, he flies if you keep pressing it.
Okay, fine.
I think because the joystick's not working on that, shall we move on? Yeah, Chucky Egg, that's one that we went on. So let's press S to start. Number of players, 1. Here we go on Chucky Egg. Can't find the up button though. Got the left and right.
I can't see this staying interesting.
I want to try.
I can't see that staying interesting.
Yeah, but at the time, that's all you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no Fortnite back then. The only Fortnite back then was just at the time of 2 weeks. The joystick doesn't work, Holly. You got to use left and right there.
Does it feel like this back then, or is that just over time it's like that? Or...
It wouldn't have had those kind of things. That would have been the colour, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't work that out. So there'd be an up button. Oh, there we go. Matthew, can you see that? Commodore 64.
Yeah.
That was one of the main computers of its time for people to play games on. So it looks like it's got Frogger on there now. So again, that's the BBC Micro, like the one we had at school. So I had, not just in primary school, but also in high school, that was our main computer. And there's ZX81, one I had. Holly, this is the type of game that I used to have to play when I was a bit younger than you.
It looks bad. I think it's not in the right spot.
Okay, so go right. So control is right.
The joystick's broken and I'm upside down now.
I'm still put those until I die.
Okay, shall we keep looking around then? So let's have a look what they've got here. Oh, so they've got an Acorn Electron as well. Look at the graphics on that. Oh, yeah, that's because that's a PlayStation. Yeah, that's the first PlayStation. Oh, we're getting a bit too modern. Yeah. We're getting a bit more modern here.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the old ones. So we've got another Spectrum, is it? Sinclair QL. That one. Don't know what a torch is.
That's
Obviously, but look, you put a disc in there, looking like a floppy disk. And you've got Galactic Invaders. I haven't seen one of those before.
Oh, wait.
But it's like
Space Invaders.
Space Invaders, but just on one. Oh, links. Okay. There you go. So you should just move left and right and shoot, Holly, on that. Is it working?
Yeah.
Probably. Is that button she shoot now? There, that's the shoot button. Okay, there's a Commodore Amiga. So I had that one as well, Matthew. Although I had a smaller one than that. See this one? I had one of those, but a different one, smaller one. That was a really good one, actually, the Commodore Amiga. Can you see that up there?
Yeah, you do.
No, it's called a Sinclair C5. That was actually a vehicle you could drive on the road. It was an absolute flop.
Wow.
I used to go to Comet. There used to be a electronics store in town, which used to have that on display there, and they never sold one model. But I used to go there when I used to go to Comet, sit in it, because I really wanted it. But luckily, I never did. How are you doing, Holly? Yeah. Just discovered something I didn't know existed. It's an Amstrad computer, PC, with a Sega Mega Drive built in it. Never aware of that when I was younger, or at least I don't remember it anyway. So I've left Holly and Matthew to continue playing Sonic and Mario over there, and I'm continuing to walk around having a look at all the old computers. So we've got an Atari ST here with Indiana Jones. Let's have a look. We can play on that. Shall we keep looking around? Or do you want to go next? The left and right and up and down, and the button to use your whip. Get that fuggy guard.
No.
Keep going that way, I think. Okay, oh, you died. And go up. These are kind of game. This was a good game when I was younger, Holly. No, up. Not the button, up. See? Over that cat. That fuggy's going to get you.
I'll stick to Red Dead.
Hey?
I'll stick to Red Dead.
6 children held captive. You got to go there and release them. Either use a whip or... there you go.
Indiana Jones.
It's Indiana Jones to the Temple of
I think
Doom.
that's a new Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, there is, but it's not as good as this. Inside a computer, a PC computer, this is everything that's in there. Yeah, so that's the hard drive where everything goes on. The processor will be on under there. You got the RAM.
What's that?
That's the RAM here.
What's
And
that?
well, this cable, that's for the fan. See that? So that keeps the processor cool underneath it. See, so that spins around when it's on. So you got a Sega Master System, the original Nintendo NES. You got the Atari 2600 over there. I had one of those. Coleco, is it? Yeah, ColecoVision. And also Mattel and Television. Looks like they've got a load of Spectrum games in the form of cassettes on the wall here, making quite a nice display. Kickstart 2, I remember that one. Holly, see this one? Atari VCS, I suppose the Atari 2600. That was the very first games console I had.
I thought you said computers.
No, that was a computer, different things. There's a games console. So we've got some retro arcade games in here, Holly. Got Miss Pac-Man. We've got Space Invaders. Original Space Invaders in there. As well as all these games consoles. What games console? Okay, so there's an Amstrad games console. I think that passed me by. I don't remember that. Okay, Mega Drive. So we've obviously got one of those.
Yeah.
Haven't we? But this was the CD attachment. Sonic's on there.
It's a place from Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So just Super Nintendo. So yeah, it's got Donkey Kong Country. We've just returned from Japan, and in Universal Studios, we went on the Donkey Kong Country Minecart Madness ride, didn't we? That was good fun.
Yeah.
What else have they got here? A Philips CDI. I kind of remember that one, but never had it. Amiga CD 32. Panasonic. 3DO. Kind of remember that one. Atari Jaguar. I do remember that one. Never had it. Sega Saturn. Get a bit too recent for me now, these ones are. And then you got the original PlayStation. Nintendo 64, I had one of those. Sega Dreamcast. PlayStation 2, Xbox, and a GameCube. Holly's got Street Fighter over there on the arcade game. Do you want to try it, me and you? It doesn't look like that's working. And now I can remember Astro Wars. I think I might have had this, but I can't fully remember. Oh yeah, I remember that music. Difficult to play one-handed while trying to film. Yeah, I definitely did have that. I think I might have had it on like a really small travel handheld game as well. Well done, Holly.
I went on 3 rounds.
Yeah. See if you can play this one then, Matthew Astro Wars. So let's start. Yeah? And actually shoot button. So this is the original Space Invaders arcade game, Holly. This is kind of what made arcades popular back in the late 1970s. And I can remember the sounds of this really vividly from when I first went to Butlins, Holly, in Pockelly. Because the arcade game there, I don't know, the noise of this and the sounds of this is ingrained in my memory. I used to play this all the time, probably in the very early 1980s. And then soon, there's going to be a UFO that comes down and makes its own unique noise as well. Now, Holly's having to go on Space Invaders. I almost managed to clear the first screen. I just had 3 left before I died. Matthew's having to go on Miss Pac-Man. I think this Centre for Computer History is actually really interesting. All the way from the kind of the dawn of computing to more, what I would class recent consoles behind me here. Although the majority are from the 1990s. I stopped playing computer games and consoles around the Super Nintendo Mega Drive area back then. So the majority of those are new to me. Obviously, I used to do Space Invaders in the arcade, Miss Pac-Man as well. We've had Street Fighter and Centipede here as well. We've got Tetris there. So I don't know if that's actually linked up to a Game Boy, because we've got a Game Boy up there. And there's just a few... I don't know if you can see it. Oh, Facebook. So you just got that there. You've got Lemmings on the Amiga over there. Plus you've also got the history of computing everywhere. So all basically the computers I used to use when I was in school. Because when I was in school, high school and primary, we just had BBC Micros. It wasn't until I went to college that we actually started to use PCs. I remember the first PC I had in college was a 386 and it was a green screen. Until a little bit later, we went to a 486. And my first PC I ever had at home was a stupid price. It was like £1,500 for what would be very, very basic now. Probably my watch has got a lot more computing power than that first PC. It was a 486 DX266. I can remember that. It only had a floppy drive. It didn't even have a CD drive in there. Didn't have any sound. I remember having to buy a Sound Blaster sound card. Oh, you would again? Oh, you just completed the second screen on Miss Pac-Man. Wow. So yeah, I had to buy a Sound Blaster sound card to put in just so it had sound. And it probably only lasted a couple of years. I'll be completely honest, it was quite a rubbish PC, even though it was meant to be the best one at the time. And then the next one I had after that, I think it was either a HP or a Compaq, and that was a lot better. That actually came with a CD drive built in there as well. So coming here, I don't know, it's a bit of nostalgia, if I'm honest. Lots of all the original computers that I had from as a kid, used them, as well as a lot older ones as well. So there's a section about the old computers and how it was used in offices back in the 70s and the 1980s. Obviously, they were out of my reach when I was just a kid. I was in school. I think once we finish in the retro arcade area, we'll continue looking around what's here. Well done. Now on the second screen, so it should be a little bit harder. Hey, you tell us it's Pac-Man, can't you? Because she's got a little bow in her hair. Just got the top score on Centipede. I'm on the top of the high scores list. I have just spotted an Amstrad disk drive computer up there. That's the one I had. That was probably my favourite computer growing up. Great fun on that one there. So I was mentioning earlier about the first PC I had, which is 486 DX266. And this is actually the microprocessor that went into that particular PC. There we go. Look at that phone there. Usually that would have been in somebody's car. Have a look what we've got here. So we've got the N95. I had one of those, Holly. See the one that flips up?
Yeah.
I had that Nokia one behind there. Over there. Yeah, the blue one. I might have had that Motorola. I think that was a Motorola Razr. I think I might have had that.
That one looks like a calculator.
That is a big phone.
Yeah, that's a BlackBerry. That's what people had when they, if they worked in an office or whatever.
Why is it so small?
That was kind of my first work mobile phone, one of those. It's got a keyboard on it. Here we're coming to some really old computers, mainly used in the workplace by the look of it. So the dawn of electric computers. All the way going back from Alan Turing here with the Colossus. Which, do you remember going to visit that, Holly? The Colossus last year? We went to Bletchley Park. Remember? And that guy there? And you saw his teddy bear. Did say come in and rifle through the drawers. So let's read what we've got. Computing Today from 1979, 50 pence. Ooh, Green Shield stamps. Okay, Radio Shack microsystems. One of these is more American than British. I do remember those style phones. You got the 5-inch floppy disks here. Come look there and guess that's a modem to put the telephone on. So this is an old 1970s office, it said, Holly. It's a typewriter.
What do you actually do with it?
I don't know what you do with that one. I don't know the purpose of it. Put that in the drawer. You got sellotape. That actually came in a tin. You keep your sellotape in a tin back then, and that cost them 19 pence. Oh, look at that. You got some video cassettes in there. That's a Betamax one.
Wow.
No, that's cassette tapes. This is for videos. So this is Betamax. So there's there's 3 formats. The main one was VHS. That won out. But then Betamax was one that kind of lost out. And we actually had a Betamax one. So that's a tape, mounted cassette tape.
I know.
But you don't use those. No need to it. So I can remember one of my first summer jobs I had. See that paper there, Holly? That print paper? I'd be printing out on that type of paper on one of those printers there. To have Sean Connery on the wall. That was printed on one of those printers. And there as well, look. That's printed out. Can you see that? There. That's on that paper, printed on that printer over there.
What's that?
Well, Sean Connery played James Bond. I think Matthew's fascinated with the fact that she's using a cassette tape. So that's a typewriter. You put a piece of paper in that, then you type on it. That's like the TV we used to have there. Imagine a TV like that. Oh, look, here's a video as well. Oh, actually, that's quite small, so that's a Betamax video recorder. There, Sanyo one. There, look. That's how you do it. So that's your Betamax video. Put it in there.
What?
Plot it down.
Powerful watch.
Play. Oh, it's not plugged in. These are what modems, like our router that we've got now that does Wi-Fi around the house. Before, you'd have to connect your phone line up to one of these. So these are the modems. And you could only use the internet through the phone line, and then you couldn't actually make a phone call while you were using the internet. My cousin John having one of these kind of things. Play Pong. But I have a faint memory of that robot in the middle. I seem to remember it might have been in one of the kind of catalogues we had. I think I always wanted something like that, but I never had it. You're drawing another cat on your Amiga.
Just remind me.
We've just spotted this little section here. So that's the original Nintendo family computer, or Famicom. That's before the NES came out. Sega SG-1000, I kind of remember that. Got Atari Lynx there. I had one of those, but it was a slightly different shape. So I think mine was the original one, and that came out slightly later. Or that was the American version, and mine was the Japanese version. And some more Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS down there. Okay, you two, ready to go to the next place?
Yeah.
So we've just finished in the Centre for Computing History, and I have to admit that was really good. I think Matthew and Holly are actually surprised about how much they enjoyed it, aren't you?
Well, Holly is not.
Holly is. Holly, did you enjoy that? I think you did. So we've spent almost 3 hours in there as well, which we really lost track of time. So as you've probably seen, they kind of have computers from many different decades, starting at the beginning. Best parts, I think, was probably the 90s and 2000s, because we get to go and play on the computers and the games consoles from that era. Yeah, thoroughly recommend this. We paid £27.50, I think, for a family of 3. That's with gift aid. So if you get gift aid, if you're not familiar with it, especially if you live outside the UK, they're able to claim. So we pay extra. It's something to do with your tax, and they're able to claim more back from the government. So I think I paid an extra £1.60 maybe for gift aid, and they're able to reclaim £3 something back from the government. But yeah, thoroughly recommend this place. And it's just started raining, which is a shame, because the next place we're going to be going to is indoors and outdoors. So we are now going to be heading to the Imperial War Museum at Duxford. It's about a 20 to 25 minute drive away from where we are. It's one of, how many? 3 or 4 Imperial War museums around the United Kingdom. This one is based on the RAF and the Air Force, so it's really an air museum. There's lots of different hangars there, lots of different planes, helicopters and aviation specific things there. I'm really looking forward to seeing the SR-71 Blackbird, because that's my favourite plane, and also the RAF Tornadoes. Really like those kind of planes, especially when I was younger. So let's get on the road. Let's head to the Imperial War Museum. So we've arrived at the Imperial War Museum here in Duxford. Got I think it's a recreation of a Spitfire behind us here at the entrance, as well as a tank just by there. So we're going to go in, get our tickets, and explore this museum. So the Imperial War Museum here in Duxford, I think, is one of 4 Imperial War Museums in the UK. We've obviously got the main Imperial War Museum in London. You've also got HMS Belfast, which is part of the Imperial War Museum group. You've got the Imperial War Museums North, which is in Manchester, which me and Matthew went to last year, was it?
Yeah.
That was great fun. Or maybe, yeah, the year before. And you've got the one here in Duxford, which is an RAF base, well, a former RAF base. So this is an Air Force museum. Plenty of airplanes on display, plenty of aircraft, probably some helicopters as well. We're going to go in there now, get our tickets, and have a look around. The museum today closes at 6 o'clock. It's now 1:30, so we've only got a maximum of 4.5 hours here. Hopefully that's going to be enough. According to their website, they do recommend that you spend at least half a day here. So we're going to see how truthful that is. Lots of things to look around. Lots of different hangars as well. So you've got a World War II hangar, you've got an American hangar, you've got the general hangar. So let's go in, get our tickets, and have a look. Perfect, thank you. So we've got our tickets to come in. Total cost for 1 adult and 2 children was £56.25. I'll put the actual cost for adults and children down by there so you know how much the individual tickets cost. Now let's go and explore. She recommended going to Hangar 1 first, which is called Airspace. And that's where Concorde is. So let's go there first. So here's a map of the whole place. We are there at the moment, Hangar number 1. So we're going to look around here first, and then we're going to continue all the way north, all the way up there to the American Air Museum. And looks like there's a cafe up there as well. Oh, is that Paul Rudolf Hess's plane that he came over, though? So as soon as you come in, you've got a really historic item. So that was part of Rudolf Hess's plane that was shot down during the Second World War when he flew over to Scotland to try and do peace talks with the British government. Wow. Literally the very first thing we've seen, something like that. Dual machine guns, I think they're Vickers machine guns, are they? So we're going to look inside the cockpit of the Tornado. This is one of my favourite aircrafts, Holly. Look at that. Can you see where they actually sit in the cockpit there? How much space is it? And then the co-pilot's at the back there. That's what the British RAF use this plane. Oh, you got Concorde over here. See that one? The one with the pointy nose? It's Concorde. So that's, well, it's not used anymore, but that's the fastest commercial airliner. So that used to fly from the UK to New York in around 4 hours at supersonic speeds. So you could get to America a lot quicker than you can now.
How long would that take to get to Australia?
I couldn't fly to Australia because it wouldn't have enough fuel.
How long would it take to get to Finland?
Well, not very long, but it wouldn't fly to Finland.
How long will it take to get to... Well, where could it fly to?
It normally just transatlantic stuff, usually.
So just America?
Usually. See, look at this. This is called a Harrier, Holly. That can take off vertically like that. So it doesn't need a runway. It can just land straight down. So I think we're going to go into Concorde now. Just look at the size of those engines on the wing. So it said on the sign there that this was actually flown commercially. This was a pre-production model, like to test it out with weights and stuff and sensors. You can just see how narrow the plane is as well, and just how high it is. Like even Matthew's nearly up to the ceiling, aren't you? So they made this plane as streamlined as possible and narrow, so it could go faster. Although Holly can't touch the ceiling. If I go on tiptoes, and I'm not very tall, my head can almost touch the top. Oh, so that periscope is actually used to spy the underside of the wing to make sure there's no ice buildup. So that was actually taken with this camera here. So they checked to make sure there's no ice on the underside of the wing because that'd affect how it flies. Right. So this is a lot different than how or a passenger plane would look like. So there's some guy there sitting on that seat by there by the look of it. So there's the cockpit. And with another escape hatch by here as well. Few escape hatches on the plane. So it sounds like this is the audio recording of one of the test flights. Quite compact in there, isn't it? Okay, shall we go, Holly? What do you think of that, Holly? Quite small, wasn't it? And they got a great view as well of the whole of the hangar in here. Okay, shall we go in that one? Passenger plane probably from the 60s or 70s maybe. So this is the de Havilland Comet. So this is the de Havilland Comet right here. It made some of the very first transatlantic flights. There's the cockpit, very compact in here as well. You look at how they used to serve your food on those planes back then, Holly. Look at that, salt and pepper shakers and everything. Look at the plates. Now they just give you like a tub with tin foil on top and some plastic things, don't they? I'm going to assume these are like the first class seats here. Well, that's probably the older one. That was probably a more recent one. Oh no. Oh, this is a replica seat used from 1950 to 1953. And that was a 1946 to 1947 chair, so it's a leather chair. You would be like the economy seats then, wouldn't they? See that, Holly? That's for leaving your cigarette in while you're flying. So people had cigarettes while they were flying back then. And look, you leave it there and then the ash falls into there. So what that actually reminded me of in there, last year we went to Stockholm, and at Arlanda Airport there's actually a very unique hotel, which is a Boeing 747, so a former Boeing 747 that used to be in the Pan Am fleet is now being converted into a hotel, and we stayed there for the night. And you can have different types of rooms. You could have the cockpit, but only for 2 people. If you're single, you could sleep actually in an engine. So they've taken the engines out, but the engine casing, there's a bed in there. We just had a regular kind of triple room in there. And it was a really cool experience, of being completely honest, of spending the night in a Boeing 747. If you are interested in watching that video as well, it is on my channel somewhere. If you search around, you'll find that video, what it's like to stay in a Boeing 747. Anyway, let's continue walking around the museum. Do you know what that plane there is? I think that's a Vulcan bomber. Do you know what that used to do? Yeah. Well, yeah, it just used to, it didn't throw the bombs, it used to carry the bombs. Well, hopefully it didn't used to drop them. So this, during the Cold War, is what the British used to use to have all their bombs in and then fly around. And if naughty things happened, they'd use that to drop the bombs. You can actually stand underneath it, Holly. But look, this is where the bombs would be up here, Holly. During the Cold War, yeah, this is the plane that would hold Britain's strategic nuclear weapons, their bombs. And it's a long-range bomber, so it would fly all over Europe, yeah, near to Russia, but not into Russia, because then all sorts of things would happen. And then if there was ever a nuclear war, and luckily there wasn't, this plane here would then fly over Russia and drop its nuclear weapons onto Russia. And that would be the end of the world, pretty much. Luckily it never happened. So yeah, so the Vulcan was a long-range nuclear...
No.
What? No, not that one.
No.
That one's a Lightning, by the look of it.
It has a pattern.
Yeah. Oh, because it has a tiger on it, that's why you like it.
Yeah.
So it's got a French flag, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I always thought...
No, they just have that. It's not French flag, it's just like tricolour.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because there we go. See that sign there, that circle, like a bullseye? That means it was the RAF, so that's a British plane.
They've got lots of World War I planes as well.
Okay. So because we've been that way, let's continue going back the way we just came there.
Okay.
So look, Holly, you know I said about this Harrier could land straight down like that. Here's a picture of it landing on a boat during the Falklands. So it's HMS Invincible. So that's another one on board the ship. So Sea Harriers were used extensively during the Falklands War. So they're no longer in service either, which is such a shame. Oh, that was used in the Berlin airlift as well. Right, you know about the Berlin airlift, don't you, Holly? As we were in Berlin a couple of years ago, and you learnt about it.
Why is tires so bad?
Because it's a big plane, so it wouldn't really fit tires like my car, would it? Do you remember when we stayed? Yeah, but do you remember when we stayed in the 747, how big those tires were? And they even turned some into a swing. Do you remember going on the swing? Yeah? We're going to head up the steps to get a bird's eye view of this aircraft hangar now and look at the planes, which are all going to be below us. There's also a couple strapped to the ceiling as well. There's a helicopter over there, I think it's a Sea King. And there's one right in the centre as well. I'm not sure what that plane is, though. But we're walking up right by Concorde. So there's Concorde. That's the entrance of Concorde, where we went in earlier. And now we're going to walk along this gantry, this walkway, all the way along the hangar. So a little story I remember hearing about Concorde. When the actress Joan Collins used to fly to America and back, she'd always book seats 1A and 1B. So she'd sit right at the very front and she wouldn't have anybody sitting next to her as well. I don't know how true that is. One of those stories I've heard along the years. But up here, there's a great view, although Concorde is blocking it at the moment. See Concorde there. There's the rest of this first hangar here. So we're going to continue walking along here and then going that way. And it looks like they've removed the window here so you can see into the cockpit of Concorde. So I think our time here in hangar number 1 is coming to an end. We're going to go back down the steps and walk outside and move on to hangar number 2. Say what hangar number 2 is?
Say its name.
Flying
aircraft.
Flying aircraft, wow. As opposed to this stuff here. Unless it's aircraft which is still working, which I guess would be flying aircraft. Oh, and we've another room of this section here. So we've got a few planes in here. Another tornado over there. Not sure what that is. All those. Oh, you got an old, I think that's an old Lancaster bomber at the end over there. So it looks like those planes in that building by there are undergoing conservation. So they must be being touched up before being put on proper display here. So that's where we're going to head to next. So we're currently in hangar number 1. We're going to go around there. Go to hangar number 2. So there's a couple of aircraft outside here. So I think we'll go to those first before heading to hangar number 2. This plane behind me was actually used in the filming of the movie The Memphis Belle. And I think, again, from memory, a lot of the movie, when they were at an Air Force base, was actually filmed on this site here at Duxford. So it has got the livery or the artwork on the side of this plane saying Memphis Belle. So I'm going to assume that this is the one that was used during the filming of that movie. So this is flying aircraft in hangar number 2 over here. Okay, so this hangar number 2 is for privately owned aircraft that still fly. So it's used for restoring and looking after these aircraft. Wow, a lot of old ones from World War II in here. So we finished in hangar 2, so we're going to walk back out and head towards hangar 3, which I think is air and sea. But really interesting, the fact that all these are privately owned as well. This is privately owned by individuals. Those individuals must be very rich. I have no clue how much these would cost. Dan Air, London. Never even heard of that one.
No. There's a sign saying it ran from like 1953, I think, to the 90s.
Okay. Oh, 90s though. I was around then.
Yeah.
Just not flying on Dan Air. So I don't think this is the official entrance, but we'll have a look. But it's just used, by the look of it, just on submarines. So they fold it down, put it in the submarine, then use it to actually survey the area, just for reconnaissance. It's a bit like the gyrocopter that's used in one of the James Bond films called Little Nelly. So can you see this, Holly? This part of the submarine, midget submarine, was used to sink the Tirpitz. And when we were in Norway a couple of years ago in Alta, we saw where the Tirpitz was sunk, didn't we? Remember when we were on the mountain looking down? We saw where the Tirpitz was sunk. You don't, do you? No. So, started to rain a bit now we've come out. So that's the third hangar done. The next one is going to be dedicated to the Battle of Britain. And it's straight on this way. Look at how uncomfortable that looks. So we just finished in the Battle of Britain area. We've got two options for the next one. We can either go to Conservation in Action or Special Ops, because they're both near each other. I think we might go to the Special Ops one first, which is all about the Women's Auxiliary Air Force during the Second World War. Okay, I made a little bit of a mistake. I call this the Special Ops area. It's not. It's the Battle of Britain Ops area. So this is where the operatives during World War II would do all the management of all the flights and everything from this building and from this block behind me here. So let's go in and take a look. So we're heading to our penultimate hangar now, the Conservation in Action section. And we've got a couple of replicas here of some Spitfires. I've just spotted a Monarch Airlines plane over there as well. So they went out of business a few years ago. And the first time we ever went to America, back in 1989, we flew with Monarch Airlines then to Florida. Long time ago. And I think we might have flown Monarch a couple of times after that as well when we went to the States. So you can actually hear people working on the planes here, and you can smell it as well, can't you? So this is a place that they fix up all the planes for the museum, I guess. That's up a hot air balloon. As you could probably read on that sign now, these three vehicles here were used by Field Marshal Montgomery during the Second World War, during the Africa campaign through Libya and Italy. I think I mentioned this on a previous video of ours when we went to the Imperial War Museum in London on one of our London videos. But they're always really close to my heart. Montgomery is, because he was head of the 8th Army, and my grandfather, my tide, was actually in the 8th Army during the Second World War. He went all through North Africa, El Alamein, then through Tripoli, through Libya, through Tunisia, and then in the Italian campaign as well, in Monte Cassino, all there. So anything to do with Montgomery and the 8th Army always like resonates with me, is very personal. And speaking of the North African campaign, here's the Crusader 2 tank in North Africa. It looks like it's going to cost just under £250,000 to actually restore it to its original condition. So the last building here today that we're going to be visiting is the American Air Museum. It's right in front of us here. They also said there's a cafe there as well, so we might get ourselves a little snack while we're in there. Quite a big building as well, a lot of glazing at the front. Look at this. I don't know if you can hear through the microphone, but it's also pretty windy, but at least it stopped raining. And we've also got quite a lot of aircraft just kind of by the runway here. So we'll have a proper look at those while we're walking back to the main visitor centre once we leave the American Air Force Museum. At least it stopped raining now. Still breezy.
Which means
Oh, it's in Gibraltar originally, this was. Right on the cliff there. So we've got P2 launch platform there as well. Quite interesting. Happy having a quick drink before we go in? Because it says no food or drink. So here's what we've got on display in this hangar here. We've got a super gun, an Aardvark Thunderbolt, F-15, MQ-1 Predator. Wow. Oh, number 7, my favourite plane, the SR-71 Blackbird. So that is top corner over there. So we'll head over there in a minute. That's my favourite plane. So they've got Thunderbolt 2 there. We've got a drone up there. The MQ-1 Predator was used between 1995 and 2018. That particular style of a drone was. So during the Gulf War, they put all the Iraqi leadership onto these cards and give them to the soldiers. So this is how they searched for who they wanted. So if you captured somebody, you look through your playing cards and go, oh yeah, that's obviously you know who Saddam Hussein is. Got a piece of the Berlin Wall there, Holly. Do you remember when we saw that for real? Hey, Holly. I think we're finished in here now. Shall we go back out? Yeah? So we're back outside. We've finished in the American Air Museum now. We're going to slowly head back to the main entrance because we're going to be leaving, I think now, aren't we, Holly? But it's quite an enjoyable place to come. If you like aviation, obviously, if you like aviation, this is a great place to come, just on the outskirts of Cambridge. Even outside here, there's a number of aircraft sites, passenger airlines, actually, and as well, we've got these small light aircrafts here because this is a runway. It is a working airport for small kind of, I guess, private planes for people like have instruction or if they want to go, oh, careful, Ollie, or just fly their little planes, they come here. And I guess they're stored here, and I'd imagine maybe in a hangar over there. You can see there's a hangar over there, which isn't on the map, so I reckon that's a private hangar. But yeah, really nice place to come. We have been here now for how long? 4 hours? Quite a while. And in fact, for this Cambridge video, I don't think I'm going to put all the footage from here. So this is just kind of highlights what you've been seeing while watching this Cambridge video. But I might put together a full video of just the Imperial War Museum Duxford. So if you are interested in this, check out my channel sometime in the future, and there'll be a complete tour here at the Imperial War Museum. Anyway, we've got to head over to the main entrance now. We'll have a look if they've got any snacks, because the cafe in the American Museum behind us was closed when we got there. So that's a bit unfortunate, because we did fancy something to have a quick something to eat or a drink. But we'll have a look at the main entrance. Oh, and there's also a park, a children's play area that Holly wanted to go on as well. And it looks like as well, there's a plane here if you want to go wing walking. Who knows, one day in the future I might get enough courage and I could do something like that. And Matthew, and the QR code on the tail of that plane. And yeah, there you go, wing walking, Cambridgeshire, Essex and the Isle of Wight.
That was fun.
So that's that plane, isn't it? Yeah. Ethel Florence? Ethel Dares wing walking. There you go if you're interested. And if you are interested, we've just looked at the price code. Wing walking here at Duxford, £439. Yeah, we'll think about it next time we come. Okay, ready? Hello. Hello. What?
You hear?
Yes, I can hear you. Quite clear, actually, as well. So, looks like by here, they've got a speaky thing. Holly, are you there? No, you're not. They've gone. So there's also a cafe here, but we're not going to eat here. We're going to get some on the way home. So we finished here at the Imperial War Museums in Duxford, and I think we're going to finish this Cambridge video here as well. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. It's really appreciated. If you're new here, my name is Mark, along with my daughter Holly and son Matthew. We make travel and theme park videos from around the world. Now here's Holly with a very special message.
If you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell button. Bye!
Bye!